Hi, welcome to Double Foot. My name is Andrew, and I'm on a journey to compete in the Pan Pacific Masters Games in tennis in November 2024 on the beautiful Gold Coast in Queensland. So come with me as I up my skills and get ready for this great event. The Pan Pacific Masters is open to all comers over the age of 35. It groups athletes into age groups. I think they're 5 years apart. There's track and field, soccer, baseball, dragon boats, and all sorts of sports represented. And yes, tennis. At the time of this podcast, there are 557 days to go before it starts. I started playing tennis at age 61. I'm now 63. And I'll be aiming for the 60 to 65 age group. But depending on how I feel, I might have a look at other opportunities. So maybe I'll even try another sport. I always fancied myself as a bit of a sprinter. Anyway, one of the ranking factors in tennis is something called UTR, or Universal Tennis Ranking. I'd like to get the mine up to at least 5 or more to be competitive. I'm currently 2.3. So I'll be looking to play as many UTR games as possible in the next year in an effort to get that up through accumulated practice, hard work, fitness, and weight loss. My first goal is to make that UTR 3.0 or better in the next 6 months or so. Looking at the top players in my age group for Australia, I can see the top 15 range from UTR 8 to UTR 9.6, which is quite a bit out of my league. I don't think I'm quite ready to get up there even in the next year and a half or so. And the top 100 starts around UTR 7, and just a few below that, down to the top 111, there's a UTR 4 or 5 in there. I think it's doable. I think I can make that. And that's the kind of players I'm hoping will show up at this Masters event. I played mature age competition football or soccer, if you want to call it that, for 15 years. I've been injured almost every year. I've done hammies, calves, Achilles, shoulders, fingers, black eyes, knees. Right now, I'm sporting an Achilles problem thanks to a social game of soccer I played 4 months ago. Those injuries just don't get better any quicker when you get older, so I'm kind of pulling out of competition soccer altogether and focusing more on tennis. Soccer has really started to cause a lot of painful, long lasting injuries. And I said to my wife, you know what, I'm sick of getting injured. I'm going to go play tennis. And she said, you've never played tennis before. I go, well, I played squash. How hard can tennis be? The racket's bigger, the ball's bigger. How hard can it be, right? Now, don't get me wrong, I love to play a game of football. I'll keep playing social. I love going out and have a kick with the guys and a beer afterwards. I love the social atmosphere. I love the chats and barbecues. But the injuries and the never ending anger on the field during a match just, wears you down. That competitive spirit, though, I think that's going to help me in the run up to the games. So about 2 years ago, I had my first lessons. I had 3 personal 45-minute lessons because an hour's too expensive, and I just wanted to try it out a little bit to see if I'd actually like it, and I really enjoyed it. That coach who was with me on the court that time, he was very patient with me. He threw some balls at me. I hit them forehand and hit them backhand. He helped me out with my grip and had a look at my swing and shook his head. I think I hit those things mostly all over the place, but I really loved it. And just the thought of it is great. Nobody swears at you. Nobody tries to kick you. The coaches are friendly. I found out the club actually runs something called squads, which is like a class. You get up to 6 players on the court with a coach, and he runs you through some basic exercises and some drills and games, and it turned out to be so much fun. So I was chugging along there for about 6 months, and yep, I got injured, but only from falling over and losing some skin on the court surface. And nobody even laughed. Those courts, they're artificial grass, which I would probably call astroturf. They sprinkle sand on the surface, I think, to keep the plastic grass strands from flattening out. Anyway, falling on that stuff, you'd think it wouldn't be too bad because it's reasonably soft underfoot, but it's like sandpaper. And it takes a lot of skin, and you bleed, and it takes a long time to heal. And I'm pretty bad at bandaging myself and would bleed on the bed sheets, which make for an angry wifey, and it wound up with me washing the sheets a lot. But I haven't had one of those for a while. It's actually funny, you fall on the surface, and it's always the same place to get injured. With me, it's the back of my right hand, my right elbow, and my right knee, and it's just the same place over and over again. I've done it about 4 or 5 times now, but I've been pretty good lately. I've got some better shoes, which are more suited to the surface, and they slip less. So I think I'm also getting a little bit more skilled, I guess, on the field. Sorry, on the court. It's not a soccer pitch, and I think I'm a bit more wary of falling over and hurting myself. Now, squads, they come in different varieties. There's beginners, which is obviously where I started. then there's intermediate, and then they go advanced. So I was in the beginner squad for a long time. And I found out the club was running a competition. And I thought, you know what? The competitive part of soccer in me, the mindset that I had from years of playing competition football, came up to the fore and said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. So I played my first beginner competition. It was a format of, it was a format of play as many games as you can for an hour, and whoever won the most games won the day. And it was a round robin, I think, of about 5 or 6 players. And I went out there, and one of the first things you find out when you're playing competition tennis is that if you don't have a serve, you really don't have much of a game. And my serve was absolutely the worst beginner serve ever because no one ever teaches you that in a group class. So, I lost a lot of games. But I got a UTR. It was a pretty low UTR. And I got myself a couple of hitting partners and found myself some cheaper options for court rentals. Like there's some courts around the area where you get to use the court free for a member. So I've got two of those things now. And I got myself a big bag of balls and I started learning to serve. And I started teaching myself how to serve. And, you know, you teach yourself something and you don't know what you're doing, you wind up with a lot of bad habits. And I would go out and hit bag after bag after bag of balls, and I'd watch YouTube. YouTube is the coach everyone uses, and my serves, they actually got a little bit better, but it took a long time. And in June of 2022, my UTR was around 1.85, and I decided, you know what, maybe it's just time to get some coaching for service. So I got a personal coach for a few lessons. I did a half hour a week for about 4 or 5 weeks of service practice. And the coach was really good. He eased me into it, gave me a small change every time, and I went out and practiced that thing. And it got better and improved a lot. And then I found out about another comp at a different area, and I joined that one as well. So I started playing two competitions, and the original competition restarted as a fast four format rather than number of games in an hour, which is it's like six. It's like four games in a set rather than the usual six. And the other competition was actually three normal sets, and you had to play them all. So three sets up to 6 games, and it was over the course of 2 hours, which is a long night. I think I played one game that went for 2.5 hours. And I just got clobbered in that comp. 6 love, 6 love, 6-1, 6 love ad nauseum. And I was the bottom of the ladder for the first term. And there was a big gap between me and the next lowest ranked player. But I kept it up anyway. One of the clubs I played at had a couple of ball machines, so I'd hire one of those every week to get a practice when I couldn't get a hitting partner. My original comp restarted, and I actually won that competition. I bought a better serve with me, and I won my division, and I won myself a Wilson Rowland Grand Garris bag. How good is that? So my first ever tennis win that I actually won something for. So the tennis went on, and then it started raining in Sydney, and Sydney all of a sudden had its wettest summer in history. And it rained and rained and rained, and it rained some more. But I kept on playing, and I kept on training, even in the rain. I would go out and hit bags of balls, and those things would spin rooster tails of water in the air. Very pretty to watch, and a good indicator of the spin. But it was like hitting a brick covered with a wet towel. They were so heavy. The club got drowned at one stage under a metre or more of water, and both ball machines got wrecked, so we couldn't use those anymore. But my competition was getting mixed results. I felt like I was playing better, and I was still losing sets, but I was actually winning a few games in the sets. Lots of games were actually washed out also, and classes and hitting partners were washed out, and I had lots of service practice. So that just, I think, service practice gets better so slowly, but I kept at it. And then the weather dried out, and then some weeks I was playing 15 hours a week. Mostly I play, even now, I'm playing around 10 hours a week. I've got 4 or 5 hitting partners, and we play before work at 6:30 in the morning. And in winter, it gets pretty cold. Those balls don't bounce very well when the outside temperature hits about 5 or 6 degrees Celsius. But I kept it up. I had some very patient hitting partners who were willing to come out and have a hit before work, which is nice. And I found a couple of walls to hit against for practice. So there was no ball machines, so I'll use a ball, and that wasn't a bad option. You get to practice your forehands, your backhands, and all the rest of it, and get a good workout while you're at it. I'm currently still running around on a bad Achilles, thanks to summer soccer. And when that heals, I'm going to get stuck into sprints and footwork, and I'm getting more into stretching, and I'm just really trying to work on my health now. And for the next few months, while I'm up in my game and up in my skills, I'm going to start wearing a headset to my games and recording what happens during the game so I can review it afterwards. And I'll post abbreviated versions of that in my little podcast as well. Anyway, it's been raining most of the morning, and looking outside, it looks like the rain stopped and the sun's coming out. So I might just grab a bag of balls and go to the court and do a bit of serves practice. So how about you come along with me and we'll do some serves. Maybe we'll do some wall work as well. So we'll see you on the court.
Okay, so here we go. Not sure how this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. I've got my lapel mic attached to my shirt, and I'm going to ride my scooter to the tennis courts. So it'll probably be a lot noisy and might not be a lot of use to anyone. What I've got in the back of my scooter, I've got a bag of about 75 balls in there. On my back, I have a couple of tennis rackets, and over my shoulder, I've got a ball picker upper, a tube, which I made myself out of stuff from the local hardware shop. So let's see how this goes. The trip to the tennis court takes about 10 minutes. The roads have dried up, so hopefully the courts will be dry as well. We'll find out soon enough, I guess. Anyway, nearly at the courts. Sun's out, it's not too cold. I reckon it's about 22, 23 degrees maybe. And here we are at the local. Okay, so here I am at my local courts. It's a beautiful afternoon. The sun's shining, and we'll do some drills against the wall and some serving practice. Just got a few minutes to go. There's some people on my court at the moment. I'm coming down here just really to work on my technique for serve, just to loosen up, have a long, slow, easy stroke, not to overdo it, and we'll try and get some accuracy in there as well. So I set some targets up on the court. I'll hit some balls against the wall to warm up a little bit at first, and we will see how we go. I think it's been a nice afternoon to just potter around the courts and spend a good hour getting some practice in. Just a few minutes to go before the courts are open. One of the things I'm going to practice is I'll have a game against myself where I'm serving against a non-existent opponent. So only single faults count as a point, and we'll divide the service box up into two with some cones, and I have to hit the side of the service box that I'm aiming for, or that's a fault as well. So I could wind up losing a game that I'm playing against myself. Not sure how I feel about that, but makes it a little bit more challenging and adds a little bit of entertainment value to the exercise. I'm going to get my kit together and wander on over there and look needy, and hopefully they'll pack up and let me on the court. So I've got a bag of about 80 balls here. I've got a ball pickup tube that I made myself from ingredients I purchased at the hardware store. It's a little heavy, and I'm probably a cheapskate for doing it, but hey, it works. Okay, so I'm going to make a box on the wall here with some blue painter's tape I've got. I usually make the box about 30 or so centimetres on the side. Just gives me a target, really. Most of the time I miss it. But, otherwise you've got this big surface here, and there's no real point to it. So here we go. I'll put my markers on the service box. Hopefully I won't kick them over while I'm hitting the ball against the wall. I used to try and hit these markers, and every marker I hit, I would get a beer. And really, I was getting very mighty thirsty. It's quite hard to hit these little things. So now I'm just going to play this game like this. So here we go, wall work first. Forehand, 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 backhand, 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 forehand, 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 backhand, backhand, forehand, backhand slice, backhand slice, forehand, backhand slice, forehand slice, backhand, backhand. Oh, lost that one too. Forehand, backhand slice. Oh, kicked it out of range. Let's go do some serves. Okay, so got my target set up. So I'll just do some warm-up swings first. Let's see how this goes. Nil all. I'll just hit a whole basket, and that'll be pretty much it. Okay, it's a miss. Okay, that's 15 love. Love 15. 15.30. Okay, going to the outside. Missed that one too. 15.40. Let's go down the middle. It's in 30, 40. You go in the middle of the sod on the outside. Yeah. That's game. All right, love one. I don't want to overdo it. 30, 15. 30 all. That's in. Back the juice. Going in the middle. It's in. Yay. Another net. Another 30. Juice side down the middle. Juice. Hit the net. Down the middle now. Got it. It's in. It's got a point. 15-40. Just a little long. 2-4. Right on line. I like it. I'll take it. 30-15. Take that. Hit the cone. Good. Too long. 30-15. Good. Hit the net. It's quite a few balls on the net down there. And that's a wrap. I always judge myself by how many balls are on this side of the fence versus the other side, because they hit the net, there's no chance of them going in. And just doing a quick count there's a lot of balls this side of the net. The number of balls I have in my bag kind of varies between around 70, maybe a little bit more than that, to around about 80, sometimes 85. So I think there's 87 balls in there at the moment. I thought the ball bag was looking quite full.
So that was a great session. It was beautiful weather out there, and I'm surprised to see so many people out there on Anzac Day holiday. I think I lost my game 6-3 for the serve game I played. Not too sure how I feel about that. I feel like I've lost to myself. No, I normally try and hit a cone, and this is the first time I really split the service box in half and tried to hit one half of the other of the box. I tried to keep it loose, and the serves felt really good. Even the misses felt pretty good. Anyway, it's time to ice and stretch my injured Achilles now. It feels a bit achy, but it's not too bad. I think it's on the mend. It'll probably be a few more weeks before I can go out for a run or something, but at the moment, it's okay just having hit around the courts. I was supposed to have a game coming up tonight. I kept the intensity down a little bit on the serves, so as to save myself, but I just had a text from my opponent, and unfortunately, she can't make it. So the good side is, I win by default, by forfeit. The bad side is it really felt like a game. It's a bit of a shame, but it's the first. Would have been the first game of the semester, and I'm a bit disappointed. But there'll be another game next week, and I'm in two competitions, so eventually I'll wind up with that situation where I'm playing two competition games a week. And I played this morning as well with a regular hitting partner, which was nice. And we actually wound up to be a draw. We both won one service game and lost all our other service games. So even though I did actually win 6 games to 5, technically it was a draw because we both won one service game. He really likes to hit hard, and I was really in the mood for a solid hit as well. And I think the harder you hit, the more of a chance you get of hitting the ball into the net. It was okay. The guy usually beats me, and I'm okay with the result. A draw is better than normal, I guess. And, that just about wraps it up for today. So join me next time for my first match of the new semester. That'll be next Tuesday night. Hopefully that person will withdraw. In fact, the person I'll be playing next Tuesday beat me last time, I think, 6-1, 6-love, 6-2. So it was a bit of a thrashing. And it's been, I think, probably about a year since I last played this woman. So it'll be really interesting to see if I've improved over that period of time. That competition has been changed a little bit. It's now two 6-game sets with a tiebreaker if it gets to that. So I'm hoping that I'll be a bit more successful with this opponent than the last time. Anyway, I'm Andrew, and this is Double Fault, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.